How you doing, everyone? Tell me this is not the most beautiful paver T-pad you've ever seen. I even incorporated a poured concrete pad with a brushstroke finish for your throwing foot to land on. In this video, I'm going to show you how we excavated, backfilled, and screeded for this paver T-pad. This video is full of tips and tricks for any paver application, whether it be a T-pad like this or even a patio and a walkway. You can apply them to any application. So let's just hop right into the day, guys. Hope you enjoy the video. Good morning, everyone. Cold this morning. This is where we are, Webster Fish Game in Webster, Massachusetts. So this is the whole one that they have right now. You can see the basket down at the end. Currently their hole 1 T-pad is in the lowest grade in this area. So the idea was to actually put it in a different spot in a higher grade. We're going to be going right down this gap here. Nice tight fairway. First thing we have to do, we got to run down the fairway and we got to attach a string to our basket so that we can run it back here, and that's actually going to be our guideline for squaring this T-pad off. It's a 500-foot roll of string. That looks pretty good right there. Now that we got it nice and tied off tight on the other end there, all that this is going to do is just going to need tension. So this string that has the tension on it, we're going to pull up and over the slack string, and by that, just the tension alone is going to hold that string for us. That's looking really good. I like that. So you can kind of see the painted lines I have already out. We did that yesterday to go over this area just to get an idea, but now that I'm here to put it in, we want to be nice and precise with our excavation marks so we don't over excavate, and just to give us a nice idea of exactly where we're going to be. This string is crucial to that. If you're putting a paver T-pad in on a hole that's not straight to the basket, what you want to do is go down the fairway that you're working on, find your center point at least 100 feet or more, find your center point of the fairway, put a stake in, a big metal stake, tie your string off to that, then run it back to where you're putting the T-pad, and that will help you square off with the actual fairway that you're trying to line up with. That's what you can do if you're doing it on a hole that the basket's not straight in front of you. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Okay, it's time to lay out our excavation marks. I use marking paint. It's a little different than spray paint. You can use the can inverted, and it's just, in my opinion, it's the easiest way to map out the area that you're going to excavate. This T-pad is going to be 6 feet wide at the front, out to 12 to 13 feet wide at the back to give you a nice flare. When we mark out these excavation sites, we go 8 inches further than what our actual measurement is, and that's going to account for some extra excavation. If you've never done paver installs before, that's a very important thing. You need to excavate out further and backfill out further than where your pavers are going to be, or else the edges of your install can fail and sink over time. And just to clarify, that extra 8 inches is on all sides of your measurement, not just one. As far as the depth on excavation, on any typical install, we go 8 to 10 inches below the top of grade, and that accounts for about 6 inches of our 3/4 inch crushed base stone, 1 to 1.5 inches of our bedding stone, and then 2 to 2.5 inches for our concrete pavers. You're going to see as I excavate that I'm just kind of scraping the surface little by little. All these trees around me, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't digging into their root systems too bad. And at that point, once you get down to your height, you can see me tamping the soil down with the bucket of the excavator. And that's not going to be the only compaction I do, but that's very important for when you're excavating, that the subsoil, you don't leave it loose, or else that will sink over time, and then that will show on your pavers down the road a ways. The pavers will just end up sinking as well. I'm taking all the excavated soil and pushing it off to the right, seeing as the grade is lower than where the T-pad is going anyway. So we're going to use that soil and just build it up a little bit so it's not such a steep drop off. Benny's here. Got some chipstone up here. That's what we're gonna lay our pavers on. We've got our border pavers, our inner border pavers, which you'll see a little bit more of. Got our fabric right here. This is gonna be necessary. SRW products. So this fabric is specially designed for the underlayment of any kind of masonry project, and what it does is it separates the soil from the base stone, and it also stabilizes the base stone. It's a woven plastic geotextile fabric. The roll is 6 feet wide by 100 feet long. If you want to pause for a minute and read through those applications and benefits, you'll understand what I mean. There's a lot of different manufacturers out there who make this kind of product, so just do some research and find something that's comparable in your area. How was your trip, Benny?
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy?
Just a bumpy ride, that's all.
Life's a bumpy ride, they say.
Sure is.
Benny's over there dumping. So now's the time to get any of the loose material so it doesn't affect your backfilling process. Alright, we're going to check everything now too with our string. Make sure we're good. It's 3 foot. A little short on that side. Little short on that side.
Inches or something?
Yeah, I just need to scrape these edges back just a hair. I need to regrade this down a little bit anyway. Just a 3/4 inch clean crushed aggregate. Clean meaning there's no fines in it. It's just 3/4 inch less clean stone. How's your trip?
Quick?
Quick?
Quick.
Nice. So our subsoil has been spread out and tamped in with the excavator bucket. And then what we're going to do with that base stone is spread a thin layer, 1 to 2 inches. Usually not even 2, about 1.5 inches of stone. Spread it out, and then we'll plate compact it into the subsoil. Okay guys, if you're watching this because you plan on doing something like this yourself, this is the most important step in the backfill process in my opinion. You need to do what we call correct the base, and it's just like I said, we're spreading a thin layer of this stone across the top of our subsoil. We're going to rake it out smooth, and we're going to compact it in with a plate compactor. What that's going to do is fill in any loose spots or holes that were formed during excavation, and then once we compact it, it's going to give us a nice firm sub base for when we backfill with our base stone the rest of the way. What this also does is it opens up the sub base or the subsoil to allow water to permeate down into the subsoils and drain freely. If you were to just compact the subsoil, what you're actually doing is you're closing the soil up, and that makes it harder for water to permeate and drain. So this right here is a little channel that if any water gets underneath the pavers and into the base, it'll have a place to escape from right here. We're going to fill this with the same stone, 3/4 inch stone. That way water can travel right through it. I bet you it's going to take less than 3 pulls because it's a Honda.
Because it's a Honda. Nice. Oh no, first pull.
Wow. Woo! We did not start that earlier, I promise you. Because it's a Honda. Whoa! You got you. He's still getting me. Okay, so at this point, Benny's gone around a few times. The more the merrier, the more compact the better. And now's our time to put the geotextile separation / stabilization fabric down. This is a 6 foot wide by 100 foot roll, and you can get it any kind of local masonry or landscape supply yard. Worst case scenario, Home Depot or Lowe's may carry it as well. The number one thing to remember is that it's a geotextile plastic and it's woven so that it's permeable. You don't want a cloth fabric like a landscape weed barrier because that will break down pretty quickly, at which point the soil underneath and around the excavation will start to mix in and migrate into this base stone, and it will also lose its stabilization strength. Now I just want to address this base method with you guys real quick because a lot of people on YouTube don't do pavers this way, and most people actually in just regular contracting don't. They use a regular gravel that has a bunch of fine particles mixed in like sand and stone dust, and they backfill in lifts of a couple 2 to 3 inches and compact. And I do not use that method. I used to 5+ years ago, but ever since I switched to open grade base, that's what this is called, I haven't looked back. This method is used in permeable paver applications. Permeable paver application is when you have open joints in the pavers, and what it's designed for is to accept water, accept rainwater. And what happens is the water goes through the pavers and then down through this clean stone and then down into your subsoils so that it can permeate down even further into the subsoils. At the end of the day, the majority of rainwater and surface water, the destination is into the ground. A lot of people that watch my paver videos and stuff and comment on the open grade base is something that I think they don't quite understand, is that water permeates down through the topsoils and into the subsoils and further. So the main reason why this base method, the open grade base method, is far superior in my opinion is because what it does is allows the water to get to the subsoil quicker. When you use a dense grade that's been compacted in lifts, what you're doing is creating a hard compacted layer that the water is fighting to get through. And what happens is that dense grade holds on to the water and the moisture, and in a cold climate like we have in Massachusetts, during the winter that material freezes and it heaves, and then it thaws when it gets warm, and the base just consistently moves up and down, causing the pavers to move up and down. We are graded out with our 3/4 inch crushed base stone, and we're checking our level with our screed rails. So a screed rail is just kind of what we call these pipes here, what we use to slide our level across to get this perfectly flat for when we lay pavers. And what it is a gas pipe. It's a galvanized gas pipe. You get this at Home Depot. It is a 1 inch interior, about 1 1/4 inch exterior, galvanized steel. It's a full 10-foot section, and you can get them from Home Depot or Lowe's. And the plus about these is they're very sturdy. They're strong steel. That way when you go into screed for your pavers, you have a nice true line. If you use a plastic conduit or a thinner metal pipe, what can happen is the pipe can bend or bow in the middle, and making your pavers, when you go to lay them, it's going to either sink or they're going to heave. So the straightest, most sturdy screed pipes you can get, in my opinion, are these galvanized gas pipes that you can get, like I said, from Home Depot or Lowe's. A very important part of a project like this, or any kind of paver install for hardscapes, is the slope. You need a good slope on your pavers to allow water to run off and keep the top of your surface dry. So these pipes right here are showing when the bubble just touches the line on either side, it's called a 1/8 slope. That we have 1/8 of an inch slope. A 1/8 of an inch slope means from right to left or left to right, however it's showing, the grade is sloping 1 inch per 8 feet. That's what that bubble represents. So that looks good. And then the other thing we want is the same slope going the other way, which is what we have. These pavers are going to be elevated higher than the soil around it, preventing water to go on top of it. But any rainwater that may fall down on the pavers is going to flow to the right and also down to the back. That's a very important part of this process, is to make sure the front of that T-pad is the highest point. You don't want that to be a spot that can collect any water. We don't want anybody out there on these disc golf courses slipping and causing an injury. So I would take you through all these pipes, but you can just trust me. They're good. Everything's set up right. But now that we have it graded correctly, what we're going to do is we're going to compact this stone. I'm going to pull all those pipes up, and we're going to tighten all this stone down. It's not going to lower it too much, but it's going to settle all the stones into place. And then we have a nice firm foundation for us to screed our bedding material and start laying the pavers. So now that our base is compacted, our T-pad is marked out with our marking paint, we can pull this string down and we're going to set these screed rails back up. If any of them need adjustment, what we're going to do is use our smaller stone, our chip stone, to adjust those pipes. So this is chipstone, our bedding material. So around here, this material is called chipstone. It's also known as HPB, or high performance bedding, and it's also known as PBS, or premium bedding stone. It's 3/8 inch or less crushed stone, cleaned and clear of all its small fine particles, allowing water to drain through freely. And because it's all crushed, irregular aggregate, it locks together and holds tighter than sand or stone dust. You can see the various sizes in it. This is probably the biggest piece you'll ever get in it, but a lot of 3/8, 1/4, or a little bit less pieces. So I actually get a lot of comments about this material. I know that there's some parts of the country and the world that may be watching this that you might not be able to access a material like this. The most important thing is to get something comparable, angular. What I mean by angular is when people say crushed stone, it's got sharp edges and it locks together. Compared to like a round stone kind of rubs on each other and it just stays loose. It doesn't really lock tight. So if you don't have this exact material in your area, find something as close to comparable. If you have to get a crushed pea stone, which is the same kind of stone as this, but it's bigger, it's like 5/8 of an inch crushed stone, just go with that. It might take you a little bit longer to screed, but it's much better than using sand or stone dust. Sand and stone dust will hold on to water and moisture, and it's gonna make your pavers heave in the winter and then sink in the spring, and then they're just, over the years, it's just gonna fall apart and fail. We are screeded and almost ready to lay pavers, but that's for tomorrow. Hope you guys learned a little something from this video here. I think that it's a great thing to be able to do for your community. I know that there's some hardscapers and landscape guys that watch this channel, and in my opinion, this is a great way to even start out. If you're somebody that wants to start laying pavers, go to your local disc golf course or something like that. Go talk to the people who run it, see if you can donate some time. If they take care of the materials and what you need to complete the project, go put it in. They might be able to hook you up with some advertising on the hole, let the community know that you do that kind of work. You might get some jobs from it, and it's also benefiting the disc golf community. There's not very many good tee pads out there, and that's a big reason why I'm starting to get involved with this. I want to be able to create some nice tee pads for these disc golfers, including myself, because I'm a disc golfer. Benny's a disc golfer. Try to be. And we would definitely appreciate some better tee pads at most of the courses we go to. So we're starting here. Webster Fish Game. Come check this course out if you haven't been here. If you've been here, you know this course is pretty legit.
It's got some challenging ones.
It does.
Not too far, mostly par 3s.
Yeah, there's 2 par 4s.
Woodsy though.
There's 2 par 4s on this course, so they're all pretty small, but the lines aren't the easiest to hit, so you get some good practice. Anyway, Ben, I was telling them to catch us on the next video for laying pavers. That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
So until then, peace.